Hello, I'm Atlanta City Council member Michael Julian Bond, and I'm here today to talk to you about voting. I first want to give great accolades and praise to citizen advocacy of Atlanta and DeKalb. Voting is our most important right. It is also our most important moral obligation. And when you talk about voting, you know, for those of us who are Americans, and then that subset that happen to be African American, it's of particular significance. When I think about my own personal history surrounding when I voted for the first time and my family's experience with voting, I can't help but want to go to the polls and exercise my right. My first voting experience was voting for Walter Mondale for president. Not that that was exciting, but what was exciting was that Geraldine Ferraro was also on the ticket. I had a chance at the age of 18 to participate in something that was going to be history making. And so now we've gone full circle to our current election where we have another woman nominated by the Democratic Party also on the ticket and poised to make history. My particular situation with my family is that I come from a family of educators and activists, people who have always advocated for the right to vote, going back to my great-grandfather, Reverend James Bond here in Atlanta, my grandfather, Horace Mann Bond, who was an educator, but of course, my direct progenitor, my dad, who in this very building participated in civil rights activities. So not only could African Americans vote, but so that we could have access to public accommodations. And so it is from that legacy that I view the lens of voting. But even with the work that my family has done with the NAACP, my former time as a deputy director of the Atlanta branch doesn't really hit home for me as to why we should vote. We should vote because this is the only power that is guaranteed to us through the Constitution as fully fledged and empowered citizens of the United States. Now, who would not want to use the power they have for good and for transformation? That's what you're doing when you cast your ballot. It's not just for candidate A or candidate B or the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. You are registering your interest, your commitment to your direct community by saying, I care enough to show up and cast my ballot. Who's on the ballot is always important. Every election, we always hear that this election is the most important election in history, you gotta vote, yada, yada, yada. Well, people seem to get tone deaf around that message and take it for granted, but it's actually true. Elections define the future of our community, of our city, our county, our state, and our country. And every 2 to 3 years, when elections come around, we've got to be there, to be present, to have the kind of future that we want to see happen. This is our power. Use your power, and in this election, vote.